Hello there.
Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 things you missed in Obi-Wan Kenobi, Season 1.
Have you come to destroy me, Obi-Wan?
I will do what I must.
Then you will die.
For this list, we're consolidating the most interesting and fun bits of Easter eggs, callbacks, and so forth that might have gone over your head from this Jedi-centric show. If you haven't seen Obi-Wan Kenobi yet in its entirety, there will be spoilers. Do you want them to make a Season 2? If so, what do you want to see? Let us know in the comments. Number 10. The Revenge of the Sith. Obi-Wan and Anakin's first meeting in the 10 years since their fateful duel on Mustafar has Vader opt for a very particular method of torture. At the end of Episode 3, Obi-Wan cuts off Anakin's remaining limbs at the edge of the lava bank. Anakin's precarious position eventually causes him to catch fire as a resigned Obi-Wan looks on in heartbreak. Here, harboring resentment for his former master, Vader naturally gets poetic by setting ablaze some flammable rocks.
Now you will suffer, Obi-Wan.
Though he doesn't say it explicitly, it's clear that Vader is dragging Obi-Wan across the flames as comeuppance for what happened to him.
Your pain has just begun.
Thankfully, though, Obi-Wan's rescued by Tala before things can get quite as ugly. Number 9. Tala's abandoned comlink. Part 4 holds many parallels to Leia's Death Star rescue in A New Hope. But more observant fans have noticed that this rescue follows very similar beats. In particular, Tala relays Leia's location on Fortress Inquisitorius to Obi-Wan, but is approached by a suspicious Imperial officer.
This isn't your station.
Upon being drawn away, she leaves behind her comlink, though Obi-Wan remains ignorant of this.
Tala, can you hear me?
It's a small moment, but it harkens back to the original movie when C-3PO has to leave his behind to deal with some stormtroopers. Also unaware, our heroes, about to be garbage mashed, call out in distress only to similarly get radio silence.
3PO! Where could he be?
Thankfully for Obi-Wan, his circumstances are not quite as dire. Number 8. Screaming Stormtrooper. The Wilhelm scream is a popular inside joke within the industry, and any movie buff will be sure to pick up on it whenever it shows up. While Part 3 of Obi-Wan Kenobi doesn't feature the exact sound effect, it does harken back to a particular use of it in the original Star Wars movie. Specifically, it comes when Luke and Leia are in the midst of a shootout with stormtroopers on the Death Star, and it comes when Luke blasts one off a ledge. Here, Obi-Wan is forced to fight stormtroopers upon being discovered at a checkpoint on Mapuzo. When he blasts one from his perch and sends him to a brutal demise on the laser gate below, we hear a very similar sort of scream. Number 7. Thermal Detonator. Escaping the Empire doesn't come without its fair share of sacrifices. First and foremost being Tala. After being wounded by blaster fire, she chooses to take as many stormtroopers with her as possible via a thermal detonator.
May the Force be with you.
The last time we saw this was in Return of the Jedi, where Leia threatens Jabba with an explosive end if he doesn't give in to her demands.
Because he's holding a thermal detonator!
Given how Jabba talks her out of it, we don't get to see just how potent the explosion could be. Now we know, and it is a doozy. Might be something for Mando to stock up on.
He agrees!
Number 6. Quinlan's True Eyes.
Quinlan was here.
Upon learning of an underground railroad of sorts from Tala, Obi-Wan sees that fellow Jedi Quinlan Vos is alive and has been helping, leaving an intriguing message scrawled on the wall.
What does it say?
Only when the eyes are closed can you truly see.
See what?
The way.
While this adage can be adopted in a myriad of ways, the fact that it comes from Quinlan makes us wonder if it's a reference to his special ability. Namely, Quinlan's retrocognition allows him to touch objects and see the memories of those associated with it.
My senses tell me that he's still here.
It's illogical. He knows he's being looked for here.
Something is keeping him here.
In any case, we'd be more than thrilled to see Quinlan in live action. You know, aside from the kid version that appears in the background of The Phantom Menace.
Gosa Boba. Chapoko Uman Gisa. Mitisa Radical Banapi Chapachawa.
Number 5. Frozen Jedi.
I think I've just found out what they're hiding down here. This place isn't a fortress. It's a tomb.
Hands down, the Part 4 moment that shakes us to our core is when Obi-Wan discovers scores of deceased Jedi frozen in some sort of liquid on Fortress Inquisitorius. While we could probably make a reference to Marvel's The Collector, we're more interested in identifying any familiar faces. While some fans claim to see Mace Windu somewhere, the two most seem to be identifying are Coleman Kaj and Tara Sinube.
It's unfair. How can you be on the council and not be a master?
Take a seat, young Skywalker.
While we still don't have confirmation, the former Ongri does seem to be on Obi-Wan's right as he enters the chamber. And the latter Kojin might be the first one he looks at directly.
For a guy that moves slow, you always seem to get ahead of me.
Whether we know these Jedi or not, though, the scene remains chilling all the same. Number 4. The new and not-so-improved Interrogation Chamber. For general viewers, the Fortress Inquisitorius will seem like a fresh new location in Star Wars lore. But for gamers, they're already more than familiar with it, having played Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
That doesn't look good. It isn't. It's him.
At the end of the game, players are confronted by Vader in the interrogation chamber where Reva takes Leia and Obi-Wan.
What are you doing to me?
Same thing I do to anyone who doesn't embrace the Empire.
While the room looks a little different 5 canonical years later, that's understandable seeing as Vader kinda wrecked the place the first time out. It also isn't the first time the glass has been replaced, as Vader had to hold back rushing water in the tunnel much in the same way Obi-Wan has to here.
Run!
Maybe thicker glass next time, fellas? Number 3. Who really killed Anakin?
A young Jedi named Darth Vader, who was a pupil of mine until he turned to evil, helped the Empire hunt down and destroy the Jedi Knights. He betrayed and murdered your father.
Among other things, Obi-Wan Kenobi has done an excellent job of recontextualizing key relationships in Star Wars. Take, for instance, how Obi-Wan breaks down to Luke the Anakin-Vader dynamic in A New Hope.
He ceased to be Anakin Skywalker and became Darth Vader. When that happened, the good man who was your father was destroyed. So what I told you was true, from a certain point of view.
While some fans, not to mention Luke himself, have criticized Obi-Wan's certain point of view, the series finale here shows where Obi-Wan's perspective originated.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Anakin. For all of it.
After Obi-Wan apologizes to his former Padawan, Vader assures him that he didn't kill the man formerly known as Anakin. Vader did.
You didn't kill Anakin Skywalker. I did.
Does this let Obi-Wan off the hook for misleading Luke? Maybe not. But it at least shows that this is Vader's own take on things too. And who's Obi-Wan to argue? Number 2. T-16 Skyhopper. It's always the little things that leave the biggest impact. After getting his hands on a toy ship from a Jawa, Obi-Wan chooses to leave it for Luke as a gift. At least until Owen decides to return it in pieces.
I want you to stay away from him.
The model is that of a T-16 Skyhopper. Not only do we see an older Luke playing around with one in A New Hope, He also makes a point of mentioning before the assault on the Death Star that he used to fly around on a real one, shooting up womp rats back in the day.
That's impossible, even for a computer.
But it's not impossible. I used to bullseye womp rats in my T-16 back home. They're not much bigger than 2 meters.
No shooting up womp rats means no target practice. No target practice means the Death Star doesn't get blown to pieces. We can't say this all stemmed from a toy that Obi-Wan left him, but it's a really nice touch that has some larger-than-life implications. Before we unveil our number 1 pick, here are some honorable mentions. Call me Darth. Now we know why Obi-Wan calls Vader Darth in A New Hope.
Goodbye, Darth.
When I left you, I was but the learner. Now I am the master.
Only a master of evil, Darth.
Force-sensitive Leia. Already Leia's displaying her talent for the Force.
You're scared of him. Your father. You want him to like you, so you repeat what he says, even though you don't really know what it means. You think being like him will make people frightened of you, but really, you're the one who's scared. You've never made one decision for yourself in your entire life, and you never will.
No lightsaber? No problem. Vader's showing of the Force practically makes us forget the weapon exists. Leia's only hope. As resourceful as Leia already is, we remember who her real only hope is.
The only person that can save you now, Leia, is you.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
Vader's wheeze. We thought we heard a little Return of the Jedi in there.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. Vader's Scar. Obi-Wan's Part 6 clash with Vader is epic to say the least. And seeing him go beast mode in the second half of it is everything we wanted. Much like how he damages Vader's breathing systems, Obi-Wan slashes open a gash in Vader's helmet, exposing his face in a very similar manner to what Ahsoka does in Rebels.
I won't leave you. Not this time.
Then you will die.
But less noticeable is perhaps the laceration Obi-Wan gives Vader atop his head. While this may look like any old wound, fans will notice it being in the exact same spot as the scar an unmasked Vader later sports in Return of the Jedi.
I'll not leave you here. I've got to save you.
You already have. Luke. You were right. You were right about me.
We didn't necessarily need to know how Vader got that scar, but learning it came from Obi-Wan in a pivotal moment is incredibly satisfying.
Anakin's gone. I'm what remains.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.